Give a little clap for audio sync for me later. All right, show you
Yes,
the
good
intro.
work.
Good work.
Good work. It's a stressful job.
It is. All right.
Cool.
So welcome back to, this will be episode 7 of the Dojo Media Show with Dojo Media Co. I'm Logan, this is Raf. We make up the team of Dojo Media Co. And we're joined by some very special guests this week. Will and Kate came all the way from, where did you come from?
She came from Byron Bay and I came from Forest Lake. So longer trip for her than me.
Yep.
Yeah, very much.
But happy to be here. We have work in Brisbane all weekend, so it's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good.
Why is Brisbane and Byron Bay the two sort of places? Like, why not Gold Coast? Why?
So we do work on the Gold Coast as well. It's kind of like Brisbane to Byron Bay and everything in between.
Yeah, I'd say our main clientele is between Brisbane and Byron.
Okay.
So I think that's why we just sort of labeled it that way.
Yep.
So we started shooting in Brisbane and went from there.
Yeah.
I think we even got actually a little bit ahead of ourselves. We haven't really even dove into what you do. You're our first guests that are actually sort of similar to what we do.
Yeah.
So we're
Oh,
a production
really?
company. Yeah.
Yes.
We've had influencers, like songwriters, poets, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We haven't had anyone else behind the camera yet. So that's really
Wow.
interesting.
Very nice.
Well, thank you for
Tell us
having
a bit about it. So Shots by March, you're a media
Yes.
production company. Tell us
Yep.
about the inception, like why you guys came together to do it. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So I started it originally. I had a life just playing a lot of sport, watching a lot of movies, and I forget what inspired me to, but I just thought I really love photography. Like I would just go and I think what was at the time, maybe Tumblr at the time. And I was just look at photos for hours and then, and I'm like, I feel like I can, do something like this. So I got a camera, I forget what camera it was, maybe a Sony Cybershot, I think. It was just like a little, $500 camera from JB Hi-Fi. And I started taking photos of my shoes and that, and I thought they were pretty cool. And I wanted
Would you
to
still
do...
think that?
I mean, I look back on them, I still think they're all right.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
they're all right. But, and then I, reached out to the most creative person I knew, which was Kate. And I said, I want to try and make something of this, or maybe we could just take photos together. And then I was managing a gym in Toowong, and they didn't really have social media. So I was like, perfect, I'll just start out here. And that's sort of where, we kind of had our inception, was at that gym, kind of just figuring stuff out, making our many mistakes. Exactly.
Learning
became
how
your
to
first
tame the
client.
gimbal
The gimbal saga was...
on portrait.
Have you ever done one of the actual weighted gimbals though, where you have to put the disc plates on either side?
No.
Those are insane.
Yeah.
If you think one of
Heavy.
the digital ones are frustrating,
I
these
could
other
not
ones,
even
it
Oh my
takes
God.
so long.
You've
You
done
have to
that?
literally get it exactly balanced, otherwise it's gonna.
Yes.
At least you have a little bit of leeway with the with Ronin gimbals and stuff. It'll snap into place a little bit.
Yeah.
Nah, these other things I think they're
Wow.
called. Steadicam's a version of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're insane.
Yeah, right. You've used them before?
Yeah, well, I've just sort of, when I was at film school, we just got to play around with a whole bunch of different things, and they it's sort of I bought a light the other day. You go into the store and the guy's like, oh man, 7 years ago, these lights were so, I think just people that have been in the industry a long time really
Yes.
want to tell you how much easier it is now than it used to be back in the day kind of thing.
100%.
So I think they just brought in a whole bunch of old weighted gimbals and stuff to sort of show us how easy we really have it now, even how frustrating it is to balance the damn things.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier than it used to be. But
Yeah.
so how long has when was that you started this, and how long have you been going for now?
Geez, so I think that was in 2018, I think.
Yeah, nice.
And then I went to SAE and studied there, audio media there. And that was really good. So I got to be around some people that actually were, interested in the same sort of thing. And then from there, I think it's been serious for about 3 years now, 3 to 4 years. But
I
before
think I
that,
came
it
on
was
in
just
about 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
about
You were just
2020.
playing around, doing your thing, not playing around. You were
was
doing your
definitely
thing,
playing around.
doing your
Taking
thing.
pictures of shoes.
Yeah. And boxing, he would line the boxing gloves up on the ring.
Oh, yeah.
And then he would send the photo and be like, what do you think? I'm like, great. Good shot, man.
I thought people were going to go crazy about it when I first started. I was I couldn't understand why people were just oh yeah, that's all right. But in my head, I was like, this is the greatest thing of all time. But yeah, so probably serious for about 3 years now. Yeah. So.
But I think we started at a good time where it was like, people were just starting to value content and really finding out that they could use it as their source of, income. It could really be, as opposed to like just having photography as a side job. And I think I learned like the average career for a photographer is about 5 years.
Wow.
So
Shit.
people just do it as like a side thing in hopes to like make it, in the creative scene.
Right.
Everything's unpredictable, so it's like you hope that your stuff hits, and if it doesn't, people just move on. But I think we got in at a time where people were just starting to really value content, and so we got to understand and master our journey around people like being on that journey at the same time. So it's like they were learning as we were, as opposed to like coming in now. I think it's such a saturated market where it's like there's, you don't need like a qualification to become a photographer. You can, pick up a camera and essentially like learning is at your fingertips with everything we do, right? There's whole like free courses online dedicated to things like photography. So
I think that can only go so far though, because I did go to a film school, and what I'll say the main difference is like, if you watch a video on how to take shoe photography, and then for some reason this Nike swoosh has like a iridescent material or something that bounces, the video might not tell you about that. Whereas if you're at film school, you can actually go to the teacher, hey, why is this light bouncing weird, like on my shoe, kind of, so you can actually use it for your own reel. That's because people, heaps of like community groups about videography and that sort of thing, and people are always asking whether it's like worth to go to film school themselves or send their kids to film school or something, and like connections and things like that, just being able to actually apply it to your own projects. That's definitely the biggest takeaway that I found. Like you might not make a movie that takes you to the Oscars or anything while you're at film school, and like you might disappoint your parents a little bit, but it's those connections that are and being able to actually like ask advice on your very own personal projects, which I found the biggest difference. And that's
great.
That's sort of what stops, I guess, in my mind, stops the oversaturation of just complete amateurs, because there is going to be that skill gap of some people that don't really know how to take it that next step. And it's
What's that like defining? Sorry.
There's some people that are like better from watching videos online than people that went to film school as well. Can go both ways. You see these people that just like study for hours every day. Like their work's crazy.
But they probably don't have the connections.
Yeah. But I think there is those defining moments where like your skills or your study is tested. You guys would know as photographers, like when you are starting to push, I guess, the limit of your depth of knowledge or whatever, where it's like if you have that background, it can take you to that next level and define you from, someone who's just kind of taught themselves. Exactly. Obviously, it's all like subjective to the situation. But I think we got in at a good time where we had learnt things before, learnt and started to teach ourselves before it was like content was really valued the same way as it is now.
Why do you think it was starting just then? Like what was the defining moments that made you sort of realize that people are really starting to value it? Because personally, I feel like I've only noticed that more in the last 18 months. Maybe that's because I've been more in it in the last 18 months. So it's interesting that you think it was, I think it's post-COVID more personally for me. So I'm interested to know why you think it's before then. Was it like the rise of TikTok or something like that? Or
I think so. I think and when I guess they started to bring in reels, which was a while ago. What do you think?
I think social media in general. I think at first we were all just users of social media, but like with anything, I think some people become a little bit more inquisitive and they try to produce the actual content that you see on there. And then I think naturally from there, businesses are always going to be the leaders in that, because obviously they want to sell. So they want to be on the forefront of whatever medium is the most impactful at the time. And I think, rise of Instagram, Facebook. I don't think TikTok was that big just then, but I think at that time you started to see people switch on to, okay, I want myself or I want my business represented online. but I don't necessarily know how to do it. Like, so who do I go to? Oh, I need a photographer if I want, you know, to have my business look professional or myself look professional. Oh, I also want video. Like, I think everyone tries to do it themselves first for like half an hour, and they're like, all right, well, like this phone isn't doing the same thing as what, you know, what I see online. And, you know, and that's what most of our first clients ever said. Like, we just want it to look like this. It wasn't anything too specific. Like, they didn't have a certain like shot list or anything like that. It was just like, we want to look like that. And I've seen your, like, when I look at your camera, like, I see that. So like, we just want that. You know what I mean? I feel like that was a universal feeling. And I think that that's sort of what gave the rise to it. But yeah, I mean, but I was also going to say that I'm not sure how oversaturated it is at the minute, because it depends on who I talk to. Like, for me, I think my algorithm on social media gives me that, because I see media company after media, like photographer, videographer, coaches, etc., all geared towards that all day long. So in my head, I'm like,
everyone's doing it.
like, I was like, I gotta do something else, because I couldn't find someone that doesn't do it. But, you know, I speak to someone else who's not in that world, and they're like, man, I've been searching for a videographer for so long. And
so
I'm
many
like,
people don't know anyone.
I know. Yeah. So, yeah. How do you guys feel about that? Because I'm just not sure. That's one thing I can't put my finger on.
We wouldn't think about, a lot of people wouldn't know like a singer, like have one singer friend, or like in other creative fields as well.
Yeah, I guess because I'm originally not from here. I've been here a while now, but I suppose my larger network of creative friends is back in New Zealand, where I was from. So I suppose here I really don't have too many people that are like behind the camera. Other than like people I've met on work. So to me it doesn't sound oversaturated in Brisbane for sure. It sounds like it's maybe not even more oversaturated, just a bit more happening in other cities. But I think it really just is a matter of like, the people you follow and the people that are in your circle. Like, I know for a fact that I've got a bunch of media stuff on my like social media pages, but I don't think too much of it is actually like Queensland based or anything like that. So
Okay.
to me, it seems like, I guess I'm kind of working out now that I have this idea that it's like lacking in Queensland, where I'm probably just not following the right thing. So I think it's out of sight, out of mind, to be honest, probably.
Interesting. Okay. Power of social media too. I was stressing.
We're all just completely on different ideas.
I was like looking out the window.
We all have different
like,
perceptions.
There's videographers everywhere. Like,
what I was wondering, what I was going to mention before too, is like, do you think there's been a bit of a bridging of the gap of how people view things like social media compared to TV, radio, and movies and that sort of thing? Like, I know for myself, it used to be a thing of like, maybe even in 2018 when you guys were starting out, if someone asked me to do a video for like a social media influencer or something, I'd be like, oh, it's not really respectable, I guess, or it's not really like a legitimate job. Whereas now I know like some of the best paid videographers I do know like only do influencer stuff, you know? And I'm wondering if is there like mentality wise, is there a bridging of that gap, you think, as well, where like it's not so, just because it's on TV, it doesn't make it so much more high production than something that could be on social media kind of thing?
Yeah, 100%. I think I couldn't agree more with people that share that perspective that, it's completely different. I think doing stuff for people that might be certain, like, kind of left of field is just as respectable as something that's on TV. Of course, to the person at home, they might see it, as a bit like of lower tier work. But when you get into the nitty gritty of it and you start to realize the impact that some of these people have, the network that they have, I mean, I think it's just as serious. Like, and the work that goes into it as well. Like, you might think working with an influencer that has like a certain amount of followers, like, oh, it's just one person, like how difficult can it be? But then if they're serious about what they do, and they're really on top of their business, they will sometimes give you briefs that are so extensive. You're like, wow, okay, this is going to force me to really level up what I do. Yeah. So I think so.
Yeah, I'm aligned with that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've done some stuff for influencers, and just like even local gyms, that are big online, and we would turn up to the shoot and expect maybe one person there, who's not actually going to be in the shoot, like someone to give us direction. They've got a whole social media team sitting there, and you're like, oh, okay, this is like a serious operation. It's not just, oh, I'll just do a 15-second reel for a gym and like some flashy transitions. It's like they have people there all like business dad on their laptops, like looking at what you do, and
they had like I know one specific shoot was like that. They had like someone on their laptop taking notes. They had like a manager of the shoot. They had someone who was handling the shot list. They had a head of community who was like had managed the community side of their business, who was there to oversee it from like a community aspect. And it's pretty amazing the teams that people can have on how, you know, that's plays into like UGC content as well, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's
The way that like things seem and appear really simple, but the things can be like of high production. I know we've been asked to do things at, you know, at I guess our skill level, but make it look like it was shot on an iPhone.
Yeah.
And they would use it as UGC content, but it was really shot on, you know.
Yeah. Then there's also the flip side of like people think it's so easy now that they expect like one person with a gimbal to be able to show up and do what takes like a team of 10 to.
Yes,
it kind of falls both ways, which is.
That's a very good point. Very good point. Sometimes when you're just communicating with a client and they're like, "Oh, we don't need that many, just one," or "Oh, we don't need that many people. We don't want to spend that much." So da 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 da. And I feel like that's always not. I mean, of course, people have budgets, et cetera, like 100% respectful of that. But on our side, when it comes down to the editing side and what your deliverable is, they're not going to be so easygoing when it doesn't look like what they want it to look like.
Exactly.
But then on the other side, when they're like, "Oh no, we just want a quick 15-second sort of thing,"
corner they can at the beginning.
yeah. But then if the video cuts
and
a corner,
this reel I saw on TikTok was 6 seconds.
Yeah. So that's very true. Like it's hard at times to really communicate that aspect because there's so much of it out there which looks so simple until you try and do it yourself, and then you're like, okay, this might take a little bit more work. But even that little bit more work, if you're not in this industry, you're like, "Oh, I'll just YouTube it," and it's like, yeah, it's like it's not YouTubeable. Like, yeah, or it is, but you gotta have put in the years of work to, you know. But
how important is your personality like on set? Bring the energy to the shoot.
I think for us, when I came on to Shot by March, my kind of what I wanted to bring was my sense of community in a way that, you know, made people feel comfortable, made them feel looked after, made them feel listened to and heard. And that's what I go into every shoot with. You know,
You just share like some cool behind the scenes sort of stuff, and it always seems really fun. Like the models are really enjoying themselves.
Yes, and that's
people love it.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the energy I want to create, because we're there, you know, to create beautiful content for you. I want you to have fun. I want you to, you know, and at the end of the day, if you're being vulnerable and you're having fun and we're incorporating movement and we've got music on and we're all just vibing and we've got good energy, that results.
It flows.
Yeah. And that's where the good, you know, product comes out, because our whole, you know, idea for Shot by March was that we're all about emotion and just the little things that, you know, build a scene to create this sort of feeling, of connection, and having a certain emotion when you look at our photos. So on set it's so important for us to create this kind of, and it really, to me, like, I guess I grew up in a country, we really value community and really value connection. It's really important.
Where was that?
Moree. It's a place called Moree, New South Wales. It's a little country town, and I think being out there, not having much to do, and, you know, not having much as young kids, you know, we thrived on that connection that we had with our friends and with, you know, and everyone is kind of seen as being a little really close-knit. So I think coming from that background is what I wanted to really implement in Shot by March and bring it to that, because, you know,
I'm guessing like,
for better shots, but having that, like,
you've made like lifelong friends from it.
from
From just like models and stuff that you met on.
Yeah, for sure.
Shoots.
And like being a female, I guess, helps in the way that I relate to the other females on every level.
Yeah.
So it's like when we go into a shoot, I try to call everyone beforehand and I'll, just touch base, ask how you feeling, like how you feeling about, all the pre-production stuff that I've sent you. How do you feel about tomorrow? Walk me through your outfits. It's the little details, that allows someone to feel cared for, to feel that they're coming into a shoot and it's not just me and Will and a camera and then it's them and they're going to have to perform. We're in this dance together. It's a flow. It's, we're all intertwined and we're, doing these, what we're doing is like all connected. Yeah. So to answer your question, the energy is everything to me. I really.
The other thing I noticed is like you guys have a very specific aesthetic as well.
Yeah, how do you perceive the aesthetic to be?
Shaved head and everything.
Do you mean aesthetic of their brand or?
Just like the way you guys dress and everything like that, and like you have a certain look to yourself. Let's talk more about that.
Yeah, it kind of leads into a follow-up question on that. Like, how long has it taken you said you came in with this intention. You don't just change things on day one, though. So, like, how long has it taken you to, like, convince Will this is, like, the right way to go, and then actually convince all your clients that, you do shit? Yeah, how's the journey been with all of that?
Yeah, and it's been a journey of learning, but I think from day one, I think that was part of why he brought me into Shot by March, is because we've known each other for a long time. We've known each other for 14 years. And he values them in me, qualities in me. So it was like bringing me on, knowing that I was going to bring that. And how do you find the journey to be?
I think that, when she came on, because 100% when we're in studio, she does bring a lot of energy, and I know she makes people feel very comfortable, which is invaluable, I feel. And how that, I guess, relates to the aesthetic that I guess we sort of have. It did take a lot of time, and it did take a lot of convincing as well, because the way that my mind works, I would have wanted us to have, and I always say this at times, I would have wanted us to have no social media and just keep going deeper and deeper into the craft until I felt like we were ready to, okay, we can do everything under the sun. Let's go and, work with other people. But I mean, I think it's proven that over time, I don't think we would have ever gotten to that point if we didn't, stick ourselves out there a little bit.
Just trial and error.
Exactly, yeah. And she would push us to go in certain directions and like take on certain looks or shoot certain people with certain aesthetics and that I wasn't exactly sure on. So I guess it was a bit of push and pull, because I'm always of the angle of I want to come across as not just professional, but like we respect the art of photography, videography, content creation in general, because I know that, sometimes there is low barriers to entry, so I don't want to come across I'm just doing this and it's like some sort of gimmick and that. So I've always been of that angle, but I mean, not that you aren't, but she just pushed us to really go out there, create an aesthetic, create connections with people, see how they reacted to them, and then sort of build our brand from there. So yeah, I think it definitely took time, but a push and pull. Definite arguments here and there. Like, I was like, I don't think we should do this. Like, let's try and shoot this just ourselves. So like, if we make a mistake, we don't have anyone on our back. Like, why does it look like this?
I'm like, let's get a model.
Yeah,
and book a full day shoot.
Yeah, yeah.
And a stylist.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna curate a whole aesthetic.
You know what's clear is that you guys really enjoy it. Like, you have so much fun. Just talking about it right now makes you guys smile a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the passion there.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I think we do. We're really passionate about what we do, and I think the connections that we've made drives that as well.
It's all the people, right?
Yeah.
What sort of like communities are you mostly in? Is there anything? Is there a certain age range or like?
Even just client niches, anything like that? Like,
I think we work with a lot of small business that are looking for like a creative sort of solution to their content. I think that's one of our main niches, and then we work with a lot of models as well. I wouldn't say that it's a specific age range exactly.
And for businesses, it's a lot of like just I wrote like website stuff, social media stuff, like hiring videos, that sort of thing. Or...
Yeah. So like I'll just speak for myself. One of my favorite things to do is for a small business that has been going for a little while. They have like a good client base, and they've finally gotten to a point where they're like, okay, I actually want to look at my social media and do something with it. It's one of my favorite types of businesses to take on, because they kind of already know who they are in the real world, but then they're not exactly sure who they want to be online. You know, do they want to have the same exact persona? Is there certain things they don't like in real life that they would like to change when they go online? That's one of my favorite things to do, because you get to
recommend.
Sorry?
What do you recommend? Should they be fully themselves? Should they filter them a little bit? Like,
I think they should always filter, yeah. I feel like you always want to be honest, but I mean, if you can create something online which is completely different, as long as it stays true to your core value, I think that's incredible. I think it's just, then you're utilizing social media to its full extent. Not that you wouldn't be the other way, but I just find it exciting. Like, okay, let's say I'm a barbershop and I cut people's hair, and, you know, that's pretty much how I've got my staff in that. But I would really, really like to, you know, create some sort of educational thing where I film haircuts and I talk about like what I did for this specific haircut. You know, I may not have the confidence in myself yet to, you know, invite people in and host like a seminar, but I can create like this whole online series where, you know, I feel confident enough, because it's just me and a camera. It's not like a room full of people. And I can create this whole sort of series online where I can give education, you know, to people that are already invested in the business. And I may not be at the stage to do that in real life, but I can create that online with less pressure, somewhat. I think doing things like that. So not completely, like, don't fake who you are, but like, you know, you can be a bit more creative.
Clean it up a bit.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was trying to say in a nice way. But yeah, so...
Do you ever just feel like you're a different person with a camera in your hands?
Yeah, I get the vibe that you're very like Raph, for instance, says he loves this job because we get to like hear stories and tell people stories, whether it's about a brand or a person. Like we're hearing your story right now. You seem you really like the viewfinder and the screen and the lens. Like.
Yes, 100%, yeah.
But the story behind it too, the story that you're trying to tell.
The story, like we were talking about on the way, like I really got into this because of cinema, like certain movies that I've watched when I was younger. That's
colored. What I mean. You got that like perspective of I love that, of cinematic looking things.
Would your goal be to more make like movie sort of stuff, or to go down the photography?
I'd love to do some filmmaking for sure. I think that would be such a step up in, you know, in testing my skills and that. So long term, yes, I'd love to do filmmaking because I love cinema, you know, like.
Any particular movies you want to?
Oh yeah. How much time you got? Yeah. Geez. Well, movies that sort of colored my perspective on just like creating content would be, No Country for Old Men. Yeah, I think that's an incredible film. Yeah, just the power of silence in that film I thought was like incredible. Sicario as well. I really love just the story of that film, how it ended as well. I love movies without happy endings, just because I feel like that's not very common. Geez, well, I mean Harry Potter because I was a kid and you know, just like building a world. Like it doesn't even have to be fantasy, but I guess when you're able to create something and people get engrossed in it to that level, I just think it's incredible that you can have a concept in your mind and you can portray it to that nature. But so those are the ones that come off I mean, I've got 1,000, but those are the ones that really stick off first. And yeah, sorry, I kind of got lost in the tangent there.
I feel like when you're doing your post-production stuff, you can tell that you have done a lot of research into like cinema and really making cinematic, you know, videos. So I think the way that people perceive it as well is that it's very artistic and it takes people on a real journey, and I think that definitely portrays in like things like what all your content that we did for Shard, and you know, just really creating like a story of, and it could, you know, just be small shots of like silence and driving in a car, or like a slow-mo drone shot, but it's all things that like build the scene in the way that shows that your like where your influences have come from.
Yeah. I think also like with social media, you've only got 10 seconds to grab someone's attention, if that. You know, and
I think it's only like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably shorter by the time we get out of here, but
so I noticed about the films you mentioned, they all have like really heavy openings. Like the opening of Sicario is straight into it. Same with No Country for Old Men. Same with Harry Potter for that matter too.
Yeah. You like those movies?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, okay. What's some of your favorites?
I always say some that have inspired me the most: The Master by Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay.
Her by Spike Jonze.
Mm-hmm.
Visually, The Tree of Life by Terrence Malick is probably my like. That's like poetry with vision to me. So that kind of is how I'd love to. That's how I'd love my movies to look. How I'd love them to feel is like Paul Thomas Anderson. The trajectory I'd love to follow is someone like Spike Jonze. So there's heaps, like yourself, so many movies that have inspired me too. But just those, like there's other things too. Like recently, I rewatched 2 Brie Larson movies, Short Term 12 and Room.
Okay.
And I just remember I watched both of those around the same time, and they just really, I think I was just a bit like jaded on film, and they just really reignited how, what you were saying before, how much it can engross you and how much it can actually like encapsulate your emotions. But that's what always baffles me, like how something that someone's just made can make other people cry or can make other people laugh. That's always been the beauty in it for me. So I love to direct content that can create the same response.
Exactly. Like going back to your question, I'm not sure how much I would lend myself towards an actual movie. I mean, that would be a dream, but trying to take that same sort of mindset and applying it to the sort of content that we do, I get a lot of enjoyment out of that.
Is that because you don't need 100 people all working on the same project? Is it to do with like that size?
Yeah, I think so. I guess it feels a little bit more attainable. And I think that just for our clients as well, sometimes I always have to take that step back and be like, and this is a conversation I had with one of my mentors. There's a guy called Ian at ProCam. It's like a camera hire place in Brisbane. He's phenomenal, so knowledgeable. And I was just talking about the line between where your passion stems from, but also the deliverable for the client. Like at times I just want to shoot everything in 4K, like doesn't matter like where it's going. And sometimes we'll be like, well, it's going to get compressed to 1080, so you're wasting your money doing that, or you're wasting your time doing that. And what the client wants, you have to blend that together. You know, they may want a video for their social media, et cetera, but you're so deep in the film that you don't want to miss what they're actually after. You know, you want to put your spin on it, you want to put your accent on it, but you can't forget that these two worlds have to blend for it to be a successful deliverable to the client.
And it has to have its purpose and not just look cool for the sake of looking cool. Exactly. Like something we always talk about is like, there's bound to be one of your favorite shots that ends up on the cutting floor just because like it looks beautiful. You're like, this would be in my show reel, but it just doesn't work for this video for whatever reason. Doesn't work, doesn't tell the story. Like, I'm sure you've experienced that.
Yes, we did a job. Sorry, we did a job for a Nigerian restaurant in West End, and there was a certain shot right at the end of the head chef walking, and it was a beautiful time of day. Like the sun was bleeding in through the window on one side and just naturally reflecting off a white wall. And she looked up at like the perfect time, and it just synced in perfectly with the video. And when we sent it off, like them. Not them, but who manages their social media said that they wanted to swap that shot out for another one. And I just sat there.
He was so attached to that shot. He's like, you should see how I ended this video.
And I like showed
he's
it
like
to my
the light
mom.
and the walk and the look, and he's like, this is, you know.
I showed it to my mom and she loved it too. And I was like, it's the best shot ever. And then like when I showed her the final deliverable, she's like, "Where's that shot?" I'm like, "They didn't like it." So
It's better than them asking to change the song.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
I think
I haven't had that yet.
It's a nightmare.
Not
Any
yet.
editor.
Yeah, not yet. It lives in my nightmares though, because like, yeah.
I had a similar situation on a project we did, and it was like maybe the 4th revision in for a music video. It was meant to be like the last one. It was just this really cool shot that I loved too, and they asked to remove it. And it was like 4 revisions in, and I just like sent back this message being like, please, like you liked it in the first time, and I was like, I've shown this video to other people. The only shot they've even mentioned is that one shot.
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
now get rid of it. I'm like, please just go away for like 2 days.
Yeah.
Come back and.
So what,
and they
what
kept
was
the
the
shot.
result?
I kept the shot,
Amazing.
Yeah, I might have to try
like
that.
actually
Happy
love it.
ending.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that was, I don't know. I guess this is maybe a squirrely subject, but on a thing. What hasn't gone so well? Like someone asked me recently, like, what's been the biggest struggle for me in photography and videography? And honestly, a lot of it's been that, like in the early days, juggling how to give edits and how to give revisions kind of thing. And like they expect you to make so many changes across a certain amount of time. And like, it took me so long to actually put a cap on that kind of thing. And that's, for instance, my biggest hurdle in the beginning. So like, what were some big hurdles you guys had to overcome?
I think once we really found our aesthetic, it got a lot better. But I know that in the beginning, people would come to us and want content, and we would give them our aesthetic. And I think the biggest hurdle we had come across was that people were like, oh, it's too dark. It's too, because a lot of our editing is really dark and kind of moody. So that was definitely a hurdle to really try and get people to understand what we do, and that the images are going to look like that and the videography is going to look like that. So I think that was something in the beginning.
Questioning it? Surely. You
Not
get
as much, because people come to us for that.
They know it now.
Yeah.
They're like, I want dark, moody. I want edgy. I want emotion-filled content, and we know that, we feel like you're the best person for that. So we want our shots shot like that. We want, and a lot of the inspiration that they send us is our work, which is really, really
Makes it
flattering.
easy.
Yeah. Oh,
Very
yeah.
much so. We're like,
I saw this great
perfect.
video the other
Well,
day.
I know how to light that shot.
Yeah, that happened the other day. I was in that made me have like the best mood when I saw that, because I'm like, okay, there's no real room for error here.
You're expecting them to send you something like super huge,
Right?
and then they just
Oh,
send
yeah.
you.
And most of their mood board was filled with shots that
Yeah.
from our work. So
That's
it's
cool.
it's amazing. But what do you think's been the biggest hurdle?
I'd probably say communication at first. I mean, sometimes I don't think we ask the right questions before we did work for clients. I think at other times,
You kind of assume you're both on the same page
Yes.
at certain points when you're not, right?
yeah, and especially for me, when I start editing, you kind of, I'm sure as you experience as well, that you kind of just zone in on what you're creating, and then like you sort of come out of that hypnosis and you send it off, and they're like, that's not what I was after. You're like,
That's the thing. It's like clients want you to ask as little questions as possible and like give you that creative freedom, but like we can actually make it so much better for them if we do get those answers.
yeah,
Like, just
exactly.
answer the
And
questions.
workflow.
Yeah.
Workflow was a huge thing for
Yeah.
us at the beginning. Like trying to turn work around on time was very difficult. Like,
How long do you give?
it depends on the project, but
yeah.
longest
And
would
the
be
sheer amount of work.
longest would be about 4 weeks, I'd say. Yeah.
You don't do weddings, do you?
Sorry?
You don't do weddings. do you?
No.
That takes a bit longer.
How's the time frame on that?
I mean, we don't do them either, but I've just seen on
Yeah.
like a website, they say like 2.5 months sometimes.
Yeah,
It's like,
2 to
what
3
that
months.
too.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, wedding photographer. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I've taken wedding photos before. It didn't take me 2.5 months.
I
to
know,
turn it around, but like,
That's funny you mentioned that. I just went to a wedding recently, and the people that did it, I was like, I wasn't eavesdropping it, but I was also eavesdropping because I was like, I want to know their turnaround time, because I was seeing the level of production. And when they said 3 months, I was like, that's amazing. Like, I'd love 3 months to be able to do some. But
we need to get a wedding photographer on and figure out how they're actually like making money through that. Like, what are they?
Yeah.
How are they charging for 3
The
months?
quicker you start just working on something, the better usually. I find like the longer you leave the stuff, the less you can be bothered.
That's the thing, like
getting around to it.
When you get home,
do you do much of it? Like, do you do editing of all your own stuff? Like, you never outsource the editing, or you don't get stuff in to edit for someone else? Like, it's always you've shot it. For
you
the
don't
most
send it
part,
overseas.
Yeah, for the most part, we do outsource some photo editing.
So
but
it's mostly retouching.
yeah, mostly retouching and some other stuff, but it doesn't always go the way that we want it to. Although we have found some really good people, we just have to, again, it's communication, being very methodical in what we're after. But yeah, we're trying to outsource a little bit more. At the same time, you don't want to make that trade-off where...
Well, because the reason I asked what Rafsal was sort of headed down is like sometimes you'll be somewhere and you'll capture a moment that may seem insignificant. For instance, I was actually at the last wedding video I would have done. And I heard that like they did their speech, obviously, and I heard them just like down the road later on, I heard the wife say to the husband, like, this line really made me, and it just seemed to me was like the most insignificant line of all. And she's like, this line made me break down. So I was like, well, now I know I have to include that in the video, where it's like another editor that just saw all this footage might not have really...
See, that's the
might
thing.
have just skipped right over
When
me.
you're there
Would have
on the
skipped over
day.
my head if I didn't hear them say it, kind of thing.
That's the thing. That's
Being there on
the
the day.
anxiety that outsourcing gives me, is that I know what I'm going to include because I was there, and like I kind of understand these people a little bit, and then I'm just sending you a raw project. Like, I'm not sure if you're going to recognize those small little moments, but then I'm like, maybe I just need to be more, extensive with the communication of like, okay, this moment here matters, da. So I'm sure it can be done. And it's something that we need to do because we're just flooded with work most of the time, and like...
And projects.
Yeah.
On top, like...
yeah, that's another...
We're like, we'll have a few days to knuckle down and edit, and then we're like, wait, 4 shoots this weekend.
Yeah.
We're literally talking about that again. Like you have a week's worth of shooting, and then you're like not doing any real business development either. So you might end up on like 2 months worth of heavy shooting, heavy editing, and you got nothing at the end of it. And
Exactly.
Like, I've been working my ass off, and now I've got nothing. And then it's like the other,
That's
crazy.
the thing.
But
because it's really 20% of what you actually do is shoot.
oh man, I'd argue even less
And-
sometimes. Like,
Right?
Yeah. And what you said is 100% correct. Like, after... You can have such a long period of shooting and editing, and then I've done no business development though. Like, our processes as a business...
you've been working the whole
Exactly.
time.
We've been flogging it, but we look back, our processes haven't changed. Like, we need to upgrade this, upgrade this, upgrade that, just to even stay competitive. So it's like that's one of the hardest things I find, is that you can do so much work, and yes, it's for your business, but it's not for your business. So you know what I mean? Like, we still, have so many things that we could have sharpened up in this time. So it's hard. I guess that is where, hiring people, outsourcing comes along. And I mean, we are looking to hire people at the minute as well. So
how do you
And we
split
do get
your two
inquiries
roles?
on that. Pardon?
How do you split your roles? So it's like, are you kind of both doing the same thing? You're more video, you're more photo. Like, what's the dynamic there? Like, you the admin people person.
that's a good question.
Yeah.
How would you describe
Is there a
it?
breakdown? Like, for instance, I think a flaw in our business so far is we're kind of doing the same thing. For like a year and a half, we were both kind of working other jobs as well, so it kind of made sense to do like share the load. But now it's like we're at a point where we really need to divvy up some of the responsibilities at least. So are you guys at the same point where you need to like divvy it up too, or you've really done that already, or
I feel like we are.
Yeah, I think we do a lot of things individually, but a lot together as well. I think that I would say I'm more of like, that I manage the social media and the kind of marketing side of it. And, the admin and all of that.
Yeah.
I think you would like me to do more
Nah.
editing.
Oh man, no, I think we've got a good sort of workflow between us. Yeah. So you do social media, admin, and like a lot of the photography concepts she comes up with, and you're incredible at doing that. Like, her eye for creative design is, well, to me, is phenomenal. And then I do basically all of our video stuff, editing, and then I edit photo as well, anything that we don't outsource, and then just sort of business development as well. So any sort of paid ads that we run, outreach stuff, like it's actually funny. I do like the concepts for outreach and like what direction I think that we should go, and she implements them. And then for photography, you come up with the concepts, but then on the day, like I light them and everything like that, and then yeah, and I'm kind of like at your disposal when we shoot photo, and you're just like, all right, just press the thing down.
I'm like,
Yeah.
here, leave this up, do this.
Yeah,
I have a vision.
You guys
Yeah.
just read each other.
yeah,
Do you ever feel like you don't even have to talk? You just like look at each other
yeah. Sometimes.
and you just know like what to do. If that makes
Yeah.
any sense. Like
Yeah.
we film multicam shoots
Yeah.
and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and we just like
now.
never
But,
get in each
yeah.
other's shot. But whenever we hire someone, they're always like in our shot or whether
Oh,
in
okay,
theirs.
yeah.
But because we work
Yeah.
together a while, it's like
Yep.
we
Yeah.
just know. Like
So
we know
how long have
which
you
lenses
two been
to
working
use.
together?
2021, like June-ish 2021.
Oh yeah, nice.
So yeah, two and a half. Yeah, God, this
Awesome.
year's gone so fast.
Yeah,
2.5 years, I guess. A little over 2.5. Yeah.
Mm.
And how did it come about for you two to create Dojo?
Honestly, a Gumtree ad. I was working full time as a like media manager, content creator for a roller skate and scooter business on the sunny coast, and yeah, basically it was just like feeling a little bit unfulfilled, creating like the same content day in day out. Put an ad on Facebook, just like decided that. Well, actually, I went and filmed a band one night in the valley, and then I was like, "Holy shit, this is so much fun! Like, I want to do this." Put an ad on Facebook, basically just asking people if they wanted to start a media production company.
Oh, wow.
It's just like empty ad. Put it all over Facebook, Gumtree, and that sort of thing. Had a few responses, and a lot of people that came back were just older people that had been in the industry for a while that were really jaded and
Yeah.
would tell me like why my ideas weren't going to work and that sort of thing. And then eventually Raf, maybe like the fourth or fifth person I actually met up with. And yeah, we just kind of like our visions aligned. Like we didn't show each other any of our work, honestly, on the day. It was just like I really wanted to know that there was someone that was willing to like do all the shit stuff that you have to do in the beginning. Whereas a lot of people just wanted to move onto like a jumping gravy train.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was literally that. And then we just decided to do a couple of shoots together, like work together a fair bit to see if it would actually work. And it did, and we did. So yeah.
We just got asked about doing a shoot that we did together 2 years ago. We charged $120 for both of us for 2 hours and like editing and everything.
Yeah.
And then,
That's what we knew it was going to be like. We were like, we're going to be doing jobs for like $50 a pop kind of thing. At the
Yeah,
very early stages
100%.
sort of thing. And we were literally taking anything and everything.
It's just funny to see now.
Yeah.
Like them email us again. We're like, the prices have changed.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah.
So how do you feel about projects that you're passionate about versus like going down the route of financial?
Yeah. Oh, we
Gain
talk about
in a
that
way.
all the time.
Yeah. So what are your perspectives on that?
I don't know how, but like naturally, a lot of the stuff I'm really passionate about has just come through with like better work as well.
I think if you put a certain energy out there and you're like, you're interested in certain things and you're mingling in certain circles, your work's going to sort of show up in that area anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like manifesting in real world without writing actually something down. And that's, yeah, like we sort of say, if you play your cards right, I think you can make money through things you're passionate about anyway. And then it's also like, don't be so, I think we're both quite open, like with what our passions are. Like, for instance, what we're doing on the weekend, like it's not necessarily a direct, like we're working with kindergartens and talking about diversity. It's like we're not exactly passionate about making videos for kindergartens, but the message that they're trying to spread is something that we're passionate about. So it's also like
kindergartens.
yeah. I mean, I don't really spend too much time at kindergartens these days, but that's kind of how I view it. Like, we love what we're doing, so we should be able to find something passionate about it, right? Like, even if I'm filming, like I've done a few like business conferences for events recently. I've got a business. I'm growing a business, so I can be passionate about what's going on here. Like I'm listening to all the networking that's happening. Like I think it's just finding things to be passionate about.
Exactly.
To be honest.
We've got to.
Sorry?
We just got to see like so many things we would have never seen before, which has been pretty sick.
So do you think that having a niche in photography, like niching down, is the best route for you?
For me personally, financially, probably yes. I think sort of like how you said, it's if you sort of mold a certain aesthetic you might struggle to convince people in the early stages, but eventually people are going to know what or people are going to expect a certain thing and know what they're getting. So I think you fall into the same thing with a niche, kind of like if you become the best real estate photographer, then all the real estate agents are going to want you, kind of thing. So I think it's definitely beneficial in that sense. But for someone like me, and you can speak for yourself, but I just, like I said, I left the roller skate job because I just could not do the same thing all day, every day. So I love the fact that, like, even in the last 2 weeks, I've probably had 6 or 7 shoots that have like 4 different, completely in different industries, that sort of thing. So cool. I love it for the exposure and the fun of it. Is it the smartest financial decision? Nah, time will tell. What do you think? Do we need a niche?
I think we do in some sense that, like, you wouldn't look at our page and think that real estate is our main thing. So you don't, like, post
that's like we have a broad niche of like events and advertising. So I've tried, again, how I say, like, find a passion, like broaden the niche a little bit, like make it a niche, but try and make it as broad as possible. What's up? Interrupt.
For passion though, like, I've been working on documentary stuff behind the scenes that I haven't posted for a long time.
Awesome, yeah.
That I'm so excited to share and just keep going. And a short film that's coming out I'm really, really excited about.
So you think that's it too? Like, if you can't actually make money through your passion projects, do what you're passionate about.
Yeah, I think you always need to be working on it. And, like, if you have to do those cheaper shoots, but it's stuff you really love, then you have to do it.
Yes, yeah, very much so. I agree
So
with
what's
that.
the short film on?
The short film is about a girl that's 29, about to turn 30. And, like, she's nervous because all her friends have, like, jobs and, like, really good jobs and kids and everything like that. She doesn't have her life sorted. And then she, like, slips over and then, like, experiences all these different lives, and then she misses her own one, her old one.
Yeah. Are you writing the script on it and doing all, like, the production side of it?
No, I just joined in on the shoot. So they were about to start, like, shooting a week or 2 before it happened. And then they just needed, like, an assistant, a camera assistant. And then, like, their DP got COVID, and they're like, would you like to do it? And I was
wow.
like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, they put a year into pre-production and spent a lot of money. Like, it's a pretty cool project.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So
Congrats.
it's just about to be finished editing, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
It's really cool.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, we'd love to see it. So
Yeah, definitely.
be sure to post about
So
it.
like, we're like, a big passion of mine specifically too is music, and like we've just, specifically in the early days, we found just a lot of like musicians were coming to us, like you'd see a band that they knew as well. But it's also now like we're starting to get sort of more high scale music video work too. So if we can, like, that's what we'd love to do. As much as our niche has kind of been in like events and advertising, if we can branch out into like films and documentary and and music videos and that sort of thing, because we're both passionate about directing as well. So yeah,
not just about the project, but the time, like, it takes. Like, instead of working on something that's a few hours, like, imagine working on a 3-month project. Like, what you could achieve.
plan it to a T.
The dream.
It's a dream.
You're like,
isn't
the
it?
shot that I'm getting today is this. It's going to
Yes.
take me all day.
Oh my
Yeah.
But we're all there to get that shot. We're focused on that.
100%.
Yeah. What a dream.
It's hard work. I've heard of, like, the dream sort of jobs of, like, travel videos and stuff. That just sounds so fun. And then the person says, like, they've worked 16-hour days
Yeah.
and, like, had no breaks.
Yeah.
So it's hard work.
Well, it's like, I even know, doing, like, a lot of people get burnt out on the corporate stuff too. Like, they get into it. They probably, like me, went to film school, thought they were going to become a big famous Hollywood director, like found a job on a camera, got into a corporate job, and then all of a sudden it like slowly sucks it away. So it's like there's, well, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about juggling passion with?
I'd love to know, like, what your dream project would be.
Dream project. What's the dream project for you?
Jeez, that's a good question.
And is traveling, like, would you want to do something in overseas?
I would say one of my dream projects would be to work on like a massive fight card, because I used to manage a boxing gym, so I'm very passionate about combat sport. And they have a lot of social media, like especially during fight week and stuff like that. So I would love to work on something where you create like a promo for a big fight card in the US or UK. I mean, even Australia, of course. And be part of one of those teams like DAZN. Well, Showtime is now closing down, but we have local ones here as well, which are doing great work. So that would be one of the one of my dream projects. Outside of that, there's certain like YouTubers I watch that make short films. I think that would also be something I'd like to do. Just like a really impactful short film, like only 10 minutes, but again, spend months and months on it trying to get certain shots and just to have that, you know, on my resume, in my portfolio show reel to have, I think would just be like one of a lifelong achievement. Yeah.
It would be a real dream to be able to create a short film or something like that for us. I don't know if you guys have seen the Greenlight Project. You watched it? Yeah. You should check it out because it's like it takes you behind the whole scenes of creating a film. So it's like from how they scout the director to then all the screenwriters, and it takes you through how, you know, just every single step of the process, and everyone that they handpicked to be on the film was based around like the writer's vision for it. So after I saw Project Greenlight, they'd done a few seasons, but the most recent one they did, it was an all-female cast. So all-female cast, all females behind the scenes, and the mentor on it was the director of The Woman King. I don't know if you guys have seen that as well.
Great movie.
Incredible movie, wonderfully directed. All women that directed that as well. So that was really inspiring, and I found that it ignited my, you know, idea in wanting to create a film and produce it and be part of like the scouting and the writing for it. And I thought, I thought it was so inspiring. And so I think
any particular
that's definitely a goal
themes
for
that
us.
you'd love to explore?
Themes we'd like to explore.
Is it more like the
Something-
making of it that's exciting, or like
I think
actually
it's the
telling?
making that,
it's more being able to make
making
it.
of it, telling a story, maybe
Yeah.
something that's relevant to us, that's, you know, culturally relevant, or, you know, we've always both loved hip hop, and so I think that inspires us in like a bit of our work as well, and, you know, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. Probably.
Could play on something like that.
Eh?
We haven't got down to the logistics of it yet, but the idea of like making a film for us is a real goal.
I mean, you
real
need
idea.
like money behind it.
Yeah, that's right.
A bit of time to like.
Give me some time, I'll get
put
back to you with a script.
Like, would it need to be an idea that you guys have come up with yourself, or you'd be happy to sort of jump on as like a camera crew for an idea you liked, kind of thing? Or
Yeah, 100%.
Bit of both, I
Yeah,
think.
could jump on 100%. I think also doing obviously an idea that you come up with would just feel very personal to do. And yeah, I think
it would elevate our
yeah.
skill level too.
I mean, I started writing a script for one. When was that? A couple months ago. So I guess maybe we'll do one soon, hopefully.
Maybe we could just do it for fun.
Yeah, we'll just do it
You know,
like next week.
because we've got so much time.
Do the 48-hour film challenge.
Oh, no.
Twice.
I don't like those for some reason. They rub me the wrong way.
Why? I've
the-
never seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No, what is it?
You have 2 days to like make a whole short film, edit everything. And they
like on
give
a
you
Friday night, they'd give you the idea, like
Yeah.
concept.
But they
like,
give you
whatever it
2
is.
genres to choose from.
Oh
A
my
line of
gosh.
dialogue and a character or a prop, and you have to just make it.
You gotta
And
write
stay
it,
up all
make
night.
it, edit it.
Yeah,
48
I-
hours.
That
like them. They
sounds
rub
so
me the wrong
stressful.
way.
It's
You have to
stressful.
shoot it?
Yeah, you do everything.
Okay.
You write a script on the
I'm
night,
out.
shoot it the next day, edit it
Oh my
like
gosh.
overnight, and then upload it.
Yeah,
by
they
the
can't. They can only turn out so good.
Yeah.
Obviously. Like,
See, that's the
How's
thing
the
that
mental
bothers
state
me.
of
Some people take it
participating?
really seriously and like
Oh,
shoot on
yeah.
reds and like have a whole crew
Yeah.
and stuff. Like,
well, because I think the reward's pretty good. Like, you
Yeah.
get a few $1,000s. I think maybe like some
you
opportunity.
could go to
make-
America if you win the whole thing.
Some opportunity to make another short film. I think like actually do it properly. I
Yeah.
think is the reward for it. But
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Is it a show? Like a TV show?
No, it's just different
No.
groups
Like-
in every city.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like in
cool.
every major city around the world.
But,
Oh,
I'm sorry,
okay,
have you guys
interesting.
done one? Or?
I've done it twice.
Have
Oh,
you?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
How'd you go?
Good. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stressful?
So stressful.
Yeah.
So stressful.
What
But
did
it's
you
just
learn,
for like
like-
what we just said, like when you don't have enough time to make a short film, like it just gives
Yeah.
you that limitation. You have to get it done.
So what
Yeah.
did you take away from it?
It was just fun, like hanging out with actors and stuff that I'm friends with, and just like getting different shots and
Mm.
like sitting down with the actor and editing it and seeing it from the actor's perspective was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's always like a different story there, because they're looking at like their acting, whereas you're not looking at it as much.
Interesting.
You're more
right,
looking
yeah.
at your shots.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Have we?
Oh, jeez. Okay.
It's gone quick.
Yeah, when you're just hanging out, chatting. I feel like we just got here.
Yeah.
I mean, guess because we're from the same scene, it's like we could probably talk for hours about stuff. We could relate
Yeah,
to
we're
each
wondering
other on
before we started, like, how were we going to get deep into just like boring camera talk or something like that?
Yeah.
We do have to.
What external monitor?
We have to
do you
finish
have?
it with if
Most
you guys are
lens.
Sony or Canon.
it.
Sony.
So you're
Yeah,
Sony.
so I saw on your website it says Sony A7s, right? Yep.
Yeah.
So you got all our Sonys?
Yes, I did see them.
Yeah.
Thought they
Go
thought they
Sony.
looked
Beautiful
lovely.
cameras.
Well,
People
that's
that
so-
have Canons, I'm like,
Yeah. In
Where's
this
the
day and age,
buttons?
sorry.
In this day and age, yeah.
I know,
Nah,
right?
look, their game's coming back a little bit. I think they were
Yeah.
definitely like low tier for a little bit, not low tier, but like Sony had the game.
Yeah.
It's a little bit evened out again.
I
now.
feel like, a little bit. A little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, when we started on Olympus? We started on Olympus.
We
yeah?
started on Olympus OMD Mark II.
Yeah.
They're not around anymore, are they?
No,
Nah. As
They're
we
not
found
around,
out
and
when
one
it broke,
day-
and we took it to
Trying
the
to get
shop,
some
and the
parts.
dude's like, oh, no.
he's like, we stopped making these about 10 years ago.
I know.
I know, but I felt like when I
I love that camera,
Did-
but God, it could shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
and some of the shots we still have those shots. The clients still use those shots like for their website and their social media stuff too, which is cool. And people,
Yeah,
you know,
old school.
oh, it's amazing to reflect on where we started, how far we've come, what we've learned about about
So let's
the
do that.
industry.
We
and
asked you what your
ourselves.
biggest dream is. What have you been most proud of? What's your biggest achievement thus far?
Biggest
Individually
achievement.
and as a business. Let's go.
I'd say individually, I had a client called Shard, and that was like about 4 months of work. He was doing like a bodybuilding competition, and I just like made content for him going up to that, traveled for his bodybuilding show, and then he had another one here, and that was like a lot of work because I had to produce like a certain amount of reels each week, photos each week, But we were childhood friends, so we actually became a lot closer during the period. And then just seeing the transformation over time was really cool. And it was like, it wasn't like forced practice, but every week I had to get better at what I was doing because every week I had to deliver something.
Yeah, and you had to deliver multiple
Yeah.
deliverables. It was like
Yeah.
four reels and
Well, it was 2 reels and photos and that, or 2 or 3 reels. I can't remember now, but I think that was one of the things I was most proud of because, like, he enjoyed the work. Working with a client that every time you send them something, they're like, "I love it." No. It's such a good feeling.
Yeah.
And it kind of lets you know that okay, I might not be too bad at this. So, I think personally for me, what about for you? Oh,
Yeah.
you'd have some
My
of your photo shoots that you've organised and that have been really
Achievements.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest things that I feel like I've achieved and learned about myself is like my ability, and I feel like I always had this like creative side to me doing different things. I just didn't know how to harness it. So when I started doing photography, and the way that concepts and things would come to me and still come to me is like through, classical music and, just sitting in nature and things like that, and coming up with these visual concepts and then like bringing them all to life, something that's just come from that one simple and beautiful moment to, bringing it to life, executing it, building this amazing connection with the clients, and then, executing and them loving it. It's like, that's the ultimate achievement because it shows you that, you're on the right path. We've come so far and we've taught ourselves everything we know. So I think we've achieved so much along the way in terms of like our personal development and for the business and the vision and aesthetic we've wanted to create and where we want to go. Is just, I'm inspired by, our journey and where we are now, and it's all come from like really hard work and 7 days a week, 4 hours sleep a night, so it's things seem easy or might be perceived as like
You
very
didn't blow
like
up
cool
overnight.
and fun, and but if you're in the industry, that this stuff is hard and it tests you at every point, because it's not just the fun and energetic stuff. It's the little fiddly things, like what you said before. It's like finding someone that's willing to get down and do the little shit things, like finding this one little cable that could be anywhere, and like your gear is so fiddly. It's all those little moments too, but it all helps to build you as a character, and reflects in your work too, essentially. It's like, so I think that's the biggest achievement for me. There's no short answer with me. But
It's like, all right, well.
ask me a question, I'm like, the meaning of life.
No, that was good. That was
Where?
How do I feel about the meaning of no? Yeah, I think that the biggest achievement for me personally and for our business is just our journey and what we've taught ourselves, and what
Do you
we've
feel like you have a life outside of all of this?
no.
Is this your whole life?
No, yes.
Just sounded like it. 7
It
days a
is.
week, 4 hours
It
sleep.
is. It's
a
our life,
lifestyle.
and it's our
It's a lifestyle.
passion, and it's and in order to really get where we want to be, we knew that we had to dedicate.
A level of sacrifice, right?
Absolutely. Do you guys feel that?
100%. You're not going to make it if you don't sacrifice. Well, you're not going to get where you want to go anyway. That's my belief. Something's going to have to get sacrificed. You're going to miss a dinner with with a family member or something. Like,
Well, weekends. We've
Yeah.
been working weekends
like
for too long.
you're going to lose weekends. There's just, you're going to miss significant things. But it's like, I also try to, I'm in the mindset of like, I'm working really hard now to work not at all later, maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully retire at some point, maybe a little earlier than we're supposed to. And
Yeah.
I've worked hard enough at the beginning to like not work so hard at the end is kind of the mindset I'm telling myself. But it's also like, I've been working so hard for so long now. I don't know if I'm just gonna be able to turn that tap off when I hit like a certain age or anything. So I think it's important to know that you've got to sacrifice, but also like, you're not going to do it if you don't want to anyway, are you? If you're not passionate about it in the first place, you're not going to be like, oh, well, I can miss this dinner, or I won't go out drinking with the boys tonight because whatever reason, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of people, most of our circles aren't kind of in the creative world, so they don't really understand the level of, that we sacrifice, and I get a lot of like, oh, I don't know how you do it, or don't you feel like you need that balance? But for us, I don't think there is a
It's
balance.
better than sitting in an office for you, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that was never really in our personalities. We always knew, well, personally, I knew that I wanted to work for myself, and I never kind of fit a 9-to-5 model with a corporate job or anything. I was always a bit of a cowboy in that.
24/7. 24/7.
Yeah, but at least it's for myself and for my business and what we're growing.
You don't have anyone telling you what to do.
That's right. And if you spend those few extra hours, you know that it's going to pay off for your business and your growth, and what you put in is what you get back. So, we value everything that we've done, where we've come from, and every moment, because we know that we're building something.
Yeah.
yeah.
I like how we can like chat as well and not feel like competition, if you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
doing similar stuff. It's
Oh,
beautiful.
for sure.
How have you found that actually? Because a phrase I've been using a lot recently is like, we value collaboration over competition. So it's like, there may be a bunch, you may feel that it's oversaturated, or there may be a bunch of other people in our field, but it's kind of like, these are people that can help us on any given day. So how do you find that? Are other media companies friendly with you around Byron Bay and around Brisbane, or you got a bit of some beef with anybody?
Absolutely not.
Now that you mention that, actually, just comment deal.
Shout someone out.
No, I think everyone's friendly that we've come across. I don't have any hard feelings towards anyone. I agree. Like, collaboration is way more important. I think there's still so much to learn at every corner. Like, even just chatting with you guys will take things away from it. And I was chatting to another friend of mine that's sort of just starting off as well. And I learned a heap of things off him, just like reminding me what it felt like when you first started off, and like to then switch that mindset into, if it was competition, like, I don't know how far, we would get. I like competition in that sense though. I think it does push you, but I think to collaborate with someone, you can still have that healthy level of competition. That doesn't go away. But there's so much to learn from everyone because there's no one way to do the things that we do. It's
And
no
it's
one.
also what we do is hard. It's taxing. It's emotionally draining. It's physically draining. So it's like, you know, when we've shot certain events and stuff that I've lent and I've made some amazing connections in the industry of other photographers, and, you know, I've messaged them when it's like I'm on the way to a shoot and I'm not sure about the lighting, and I'm like, hey, do you have a light I can come and pick up? You know, I know it's 9 p.m, but I'm shooting something at the Emporium, and I know the suites are really dark, and, you know, so having that community, I think, is vital, not only for, you know, just leaning on others, but knowing that it's what we do is hard. So the fact that we're all kind of in it together, you know, can you guys relate to that?
Definitely, yeah. Like even that specific thing there of just like simply needing a stand or something from someone. Like that was even when I went back to New Zealand for an event I shot there a couple of weeks ago. Like I didn't want to take a stand overseas kind of thing, so I just, you know, had to find someone over there that had a stand. Like it's little things like that. So
100%.
And also, yeah, like you said, having you can be competitive without them being the competition too.
Exactly,
Which I think is an important thing to remember. What about you?
Yeah.
I look up to a lot of people like around me.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
think
just
that's
get
important
inspiration from them.
Yeah, like looking at people that are your peers, maybe even like one tier above you, instead of the people that are like unattainably high. It's like they've obviously kind of been through the same grind and probably been in a similar situation as you. So it's, I think just the value you can get and what you can learn from people that are in a similar situation is insane.
Right, yeah.
Like you said, like we'll take away things that you've said as well, just like things we've said. So
And even with that, there's so many people that need our services that I understand that mindset of competition, but it's not like you're
it's not gonna
struggling.
run out.
Yeah, you're not struggling to find
I
clients.
think
at the
everyone
minute,
needs it. Like everybody,
Yeah.
every single person on earth needs photos of themselves. Everyone needs
Yeah.
videos of themselves.
100%. Yeah.
Definitely.
So
It's
mean,
memories,
Yeah, exactly.
if not anything else.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I suppose to sort of wrap it up, because it is getting a bit late and we might all want to eat. What has creativity and having a creative business taught you about yourselves?
Oh, I'll go first. If that's like.
Yeah.
Probably just to trust the initial idea that comes to your head. It's always, I'd say.
Yeah, you're gonna doubt it.
Yeah.
Like through the. Have you seen that like meme like graph that's like journey of a videographer? And it's like emotion level like up.
Yeah.
You're like super happy. It's like when
Yeah.
you get the idea, you're stoked. Then you shoot it, you're stoked. Then you start editing it. You're like, oh no, it's never gonna work.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then by the end of
Yeah.
it, like, no, it's fine. But it's totally that. Yeah.
100%.
You gotta, the idea
Trusting
came
that
to-
initial idea.
And it's like, really,
seeing
have
it
I watched this video 300 times that
Yeah.
now I'm starting to doubt
And when you're
my
so
vision
tired,
of was that shot
especially
so
when you're
good?
really tired and watching your own work, it's like
Yeah.
it looks crap sometimes. You're just too tired to enjoy.
I know, but yeah, definitely trusting that initial vision.
What taught you that?
Oh, geez, just making a couple videos or just editing things in a way that I thought would be safer. Even though I had the initial idea, when I didn't go with that initial idea, I didn't recognize that my creativity is all geared towards thinking like that. So when I sort of denied that feeling and I was like, all right, let me go a little bit safer with this, I would get halfway through and I've got no real inspiration on how to finish this thing because it's not really what came first to my mind. You know, it was kind of just like a halfway idea that I was like, yeah, it'll be safe, so I'll just do it this way. But then when it came to actually executing it, it was so much harder. Then I was like, if I just went through it the way that I always do it, then I have these reps already of working this way, doing things of this manner. So it would have been so much easier. So yeah, just creating a couple of videos. I thought, okay, and I think it was corporate stuff at the time. Yeah, a couple of years ago, and I was like, I'll just make it very cookie cutter clean, because that's what they were after. But I couldn't execute the way I wanted to execute on them because I was like, I had no real game plan for it. Whereas if I was just like, okay, this is what came to me first, I'm going to plan everything around that and I'm going to execute on that, I think it would have gone a lot better. But I mean, I had to do that twice. The first time I was like, nah, next time. But then after the second time, I was like, all right, let's just listen to the first initial idea, and yeah, I'd say so.
And that's translated into photography as well. I think when he's, I've said, no, this is the brief and this is what they want. He's like, trust our vision, trust our eye. Let's send it and see what they say. And they usually love it. So it's like,
No, I was just going to say, that's another huge thing I feel. Sorry, this is off tangent, but understanding that your clients aren't photographers at times or videographers, and most of the time, they don't possess the language to communicate their idea, I think is a huge thing. So they might say, yeah, I want like just cool photos for insert project, insert promotion, etc. But I feel like that's a huge thing that that got us a lot more business, is being able to cross those little gaps of like, I know what you're trying to say, but that wasn't what was in the email.
Yeah.
So either I'm going to confirm that with you, get on the call, etc., or I'm going to take the liberty of making something that's going to go that way and sending you like the first part to make sure. I feel like that is one of the main things that changed a lot about our business, for sure.
I think it makes them, because they're hiring us for our expertise. So
Exactly.
if you come in with expertise,
Yeah, 100%.
they feel like you're the man for the job kind of thing.
100%.
So, yeah, I think it's like they probably don't know that they want to be pushed back on their ideas, but I think
Exactly.
they want to be pushed back on their ideas a little bit, or at least told like,
Yeah.
okay, I like where you're going. Let's do it this way, though. kind of
Yeah.
thing. So
100%.
that's
And I think when you're brand new, you're very hesitant to do that. You know,
You're just a yes man. Like,
yeah, you're
yes,
like,
yes, I
oh,
can do
sure,
that. Yes, yes.
yeah, yeah. I remember, when we first started, I
I'll
would
send you
shoot.
all the raw content.
Oh man, I would shoot anything under any circumstance. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like what you're talking about, like $50 shoots. That was my price for everything. I was like, mate, give me 50, and I'll make you a
Be there
full
with
feature
bells
length
on,
film. Exactly. Yeah. But,
Yeah, trusting yourself. You've learned that along the way. I think so for me too. Probably having that ability to trust myself and my visions, and not thinking that no one is going to appreciate that, because someone is always going to appreciate that. You know, people have different styles and different, things that they like. So putting myself out there is something that I've learn to do, so that it can push the visions and my art forward in the way that so really trusting myself. And I think I'm very proud of how hard that we've worked, and I'm working sort of 9-to-5 jobs. I never really had that inspiration, so I didn't know how I was going to do that for myself, and for the business. So finally having the ability to do that, and then knowing that it's all for my, for the betterment of my career and for the business and stuff. It's just like, it taught me to have that level of hard work and determination for something that I didn't, for something that, I'm working towards building, but something that I didn't know I had inside of me. Can you guys relate to that?
100%. It's like something that I have constantly said is, before starting this business, I had a feeling of like time was running out and there was something that I wasn't doing. Yeah. And ever since starting the business, I literally haven't had that feeling. Like even if I'm not doing something, maybe it's just literally because there is always something that could be done. Like I remember when I first made my Dojo media to-do list, I was like, can't wait till this list is empty. Not been empty one single day. Like, there's just always something to add to it, which it should be that way. You should never get to a point where you're just complacent with it. But that's I guess it's because it's something that we've created, but it's like from within us. So it makes me feel like purpose, I guess. As cheesy as that can sound, like it's just a bit of purpose, like something to wake up for every day. Like even just sort of being able to introduce it as what you do is like, can be like an element of pride too. So I think there's just all of that funnels in for me. Like it's so much more than just what it is for me. If that makes sense.
And you too?
No, I'm the opposite. Like
He hates this business.
I just feel like I'm never anywhere near where I want to be. Like never. Like I just want to do like the coolest stuff. Like, until I'm traveling the world making documentaries for 6 months, it's like That's cool stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to like constantly see us grow.
Yeah, all that being said, like my biggest fear is complacency. So I don't think we're like, I'm not like happy with where we're at. Like I'm happy with where we're at, but I'm not like happy with where we're at, you know?
Yeah.
So it's,
The main
Yeah,
thing
for
this year
sure.
that I'm really happy at is that we've been pretty consistent with work. Like I don't think I've gone 1 week with like 0 jobs for quite a while.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And you probably reflect back to a few years ago and you wouldn't dream of having a job per week.
Yeah.
You know,
At
when you were
least
just
that.
starting out.
when we
and
started, I thought it was going to take like sort of 5 years before I'd be able to like leave my job and comfortably do that. But I think like the first time I left my job was within like a year and a half kind of thing. And then I just got another good opportunity. So went back to work for another year. But yeah, so it happened so much quicker than I ever thought it would too, which is...
Yeah, there was some post that's like you're where you wanted to be a few years ago, but like you're thinking about where you want to be a few years from now. So
Absolutely.
you just got to enjoy
Yeah.
being that
Yeah,
spot.
and you just got to
Yeah.
be like, you've got to take a moment sometimes to reflect and
Yeah.
think how proud, you know, you should be, or we should be, because we're really right where we're meant to be, but
Yeah.
there's so far to go. But then when you look at it on like a day-to-day level,
Yeah.
people, you know what it's like to earn money. And then the fact that people are investing in us and our vision and our talents, it's like, what an honor.
Yeah,
You
know, that's the
cool
way that I see
people
it.
can trust you. And
That's
stuff
because
like
it's such
Yeah.
a personal thing too. Like we're putting
Absolutely.
ourselves into, even if it is
Yes.
just like a cookie cutter corporate job, we've put literally our sweat and tears into that most of the
Yeah.
time. So it's like it's
Yeah.
it's such a validating, as bad as it can be when someone comes back to you with a negative comment. It's so validating when someone comes back to you with, I love this. Like yeah, like you said before, it makes you feel like you're meant to do this. Essentially, you're on the right track. So that's that's probably been
There's
one of my
definitely
biggest
different
takeaways, like,
achievements.
Yeah.
Like, I could never commit to things. I had like really bad commitment issues before all of this. And like to be able to say that I've done the same thing for a while is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I used to not be able to plan what I'm doing more than 2 days ahead at one point in my life.
Yeah, even showing up is like a good thing to be proud of, you know, like
That's
day
right.
in, day out kind of thing. Because it's like we don't have a boss telling us to be there in the morning kind of
To
thing.
always
So it's like,
have to do it yourself is pretty cool.
yeah,
100%.
that's,
Yeah, I loved that responsibility. That from you know, when clients would book in with us, and now we're responsible.
You have to choose your
for-
hours, everything.
Yeah, but also, you know, how much you value your own money in your own pockets. The fact that people are, you know, giving that to us and trusting us to bring their visions to life. It's just like, it's
for trusting us
really-
with their business, essentially, like how their
Yeah.
business is shown to the world. That's something I always
100%.
think about. Like, okay, I'm making like a hiring video for someone. Like, this is how everyone that works for you is going to view your business. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. You're
Absolutely.
trusting me
You're
with this right
responsible
now.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge responsibility, but it's
For
a
someone that's never
it's a
worked there
beautiful
for a
honor.
day, kind of thing. like-
Exactly. Like I,
Yeah.
I do a lot of
Yeah.
stuff for a real estate in Toowong, and I know the owner very well, and he is one of the most passionate people I know about his business. Like he treats all of his staff like family. He treats me like family. Like he's such a positive guy and is so passionate about real estate and about self-improvement. So anytime that I have to do something for them, it becomes more than just a job when you really get to see like how much energy they pour into their own business, and then they've selected you to, you know, to create something for them if they're looking to do a promotion or something like that. You know, even though you might, from the outside looking in, you're like, oh, I guess it's just a corporate sort of real estate job. It's like from the outside looking in, but when you actually get to meet these people and you see how much of their own money they invest,
Yeah,
how
there's
much
an
of their
amount of
time,
sacrifice.
years,
Time,
etc. It
years.
becomes
It's time
That's
away
good
from
that
their
they respect and
families.
appreciate you. I've heard some bad stories with real estate agents.
Oh
Wanting
yeah,
to pay you
yeah,
little as
no.
possible.
Oh,
That's
I'm
really
sure.
good.
I'm sure there's bad stories out there, but
Yeah.
now that
That's
the yeah,
There's even the personal side of it too, where like we have to become so intimate. Like whether it's a model we're shooting for a day, like
Yeah.
we're going to be intimate because they might be in like a low amount of clothes, or we might be shooting something for a business, and they might have to. We're going to ask them like, what are they struggling with to make a good video for them, kind of thing. So they have to tell us their pain points. Like it's also, I don't know if people realize how intimate you need to be to actually like create on any level. You need to have a great understanding of the person that you're doing it for. And
Yes.
that's more than just like going for a 5-minute coffee and
Exactly.
figuring it out. Like you need to actually know pain points and problems and stuff that like the real estate agent might tell you, but they're definitely not going to tell
Yeah.
public. kind of thing.
Exactly,
So it's
yeah.
like, we get an inside. We probably know a lot of dirt about people.
Yeah.
So there's that too. Be careful, everybody.
Yeah.
Don't blackmail us. But no, like I think that's something that I've valued a lot too. Is how close you get with people.
Yes.
You know what's really cool? Like there's some community and events that I can go to, and it's like a catch up. Like I know like 20 people there. 'cause
Yeah,
I've just
yeah,
seen
yeah.
them on other jobs. That's
Yeah.
something I really love.
Yeah, I love it too.
Like I've done a lot for the Sudanese community, and when I
Awesome.
film like the South Sudanese Independence Day, I'm like friends with so many people there. Like they're so friendly,
Yeah.
asking how's life and all that.
Yeah.
That's
so good.
awesome.
I know, because I'm not extroverted.
Yeah.
I'm like a bit more of an introvert, so
Yeah.
kind of forces, like you said, to make connections.
Well,
Otherwise,
that's what I was trying to say like earlier on. Like when you have the camera, it's like you're a different person.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I don't think
no.
most camera people are the most extroverted people
Yeah,
in
yeah.
general.
It's quite sometimes there'll be like
Except me.
sometimes the
Except for you. You're the only
I'm
one.
the rarity.
Yeah. Sometimes the viewfinder makes all the difference for me. That like I'll be in a room and I'll be like, looking at everything. I'll be like, I can't just get in the middle of there, and then I'll just like put the camera up to my eye.
Oh,
I can
I
literally
know,
just
yeah.
walk in anywhere.
It's such a
It's
good
like, no one's
barrier.
there.
Yeah.
Like I can say something, and I'm like,
Yeah.
videographer. Oops.
You're like actually a person.
Yeah,
You have it.
yeah,
You know what?
100%.
You know what I found like interesting with that though, being an extrovert, is that I guess it translates to our content, and seeing people like you were saying at meetups or whatever, at creative events and stuff, and people talk to you like a lot of the times like they personally know you. I think that's like the other end of, I guess, putting yourself out there and being extroverted and I guess a bit of vulnerable in front of the camera. Is that's something that I was a little bit taken back by, is that people were like, oh, hey, Kate, how are you? And like really were greeting me on real personal levels. And it was something I really, had to work on how to get used to, I guess.
Yeah.
And because I would have a bit of a look at them and be like,
You know, one of the biggest things
how do I?
It's like
Pardon?
you have to kind of treat every single person you meet as if you're going to see them again.
100%.
Even if you see them for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like you just never know when you're going to see them again. Try and
Yeah.
remember their name or like just
Oh, for sure.
try and get to know them a little bit.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. It was,
Gotta drive better.
pardon?
I said I gotta drive better though.
What do you mean?
Not cut people off.
You don't know when you're gonna see them
You
on a
never
job.
know, mate.
Yeah,
You never know.
like,
You never,
Yeah.
you never know.
I think,
But we're
like,
generally such.
The last question is like, what's March in Yun? Shot by March.
Yeah, what's the name?
Well, I was born in March.
You were born in March.
Yeah.
And he created Shot by
Damn.
March.
Yeah. I'm sure some like extravagant story. Well, I was just like,
There's nothing too.
yeah, I was
crazy
born in
about our name
March.
either.
So. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, shot by March. What about Dojo?
We just wrote a list of 50 things and like,
Oh,
we're like,
cool.
what's the most memorable?
I know that I came, like, not taking the, like, credit for it. I know I came up with it, and I was just thinking, like, Nike's such a good name just because it's 2 syllables, 4 letters. And I was like, I just want 2 syllables, 4 letters.
when it's
Got
like-
you.
And I don't mind, like, I really like the band
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin, and they used to call their drummer Zoso. So I was tossing up Zoso for a bit. I think the last 2 was Zoso and Dojo. So it was blank O, blank O. And I was like, well, it's got to be something like that.
Got you. Okay.
One day, like, we'll shoot in a dojo or like.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
one's
you'll
no
come
one's
full
actually come
circle.
up to us and like asked anything about like Japanese related stuff. 'cause
I was about to
like
say
our logo
maybe.
kind of has Japanese vibes because the O
Yeah.
is a red dot. Like,
Yeah.
completely
Didn't we
unintentional,
say
but-
like, the discipline? Of,
Yeah,
like, a dojo?
yeah. Like that's kind of how we can,
that's
like even
cool.
the Dojo media show can be like, you're coming in here to learn a little bit. It's a dojo of conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I'm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a
Are you
level
also
of
born in
psychology.
March though? Or not?
No, so I'm a June girl. But the thing about
We
March,
have like a series called Shot by June.
yeah, we should, right?
Hit the same. I feel.
No, the
Something
good,
about
the
March
good
is
thing
like-
about March is that
Yeah.
I get called March. People think that March is my name.
Yeah. People call us Dojo sometimes.
Do they? Yeah. Yeah, they're like, oh, hey, March, how are you? And I'm actually really absolutely fine with it because it's, it kind of,
Your alter ego.
it creates a cool, elusive kind of aspect to the
Yeah.
to the business. I like the idea of, keeping, I guess, private and personal separate. And I think that, March is it means so much to us that I think, I think it really works well. It flows nicely. It's like
I agree.
it's a beautiful word. So when he came to me with Shot by March, even though at the time I wasn't connected with with it because it was the month he was born. I found a lot. I really loved it from the
So
start
it's
because
your favorite month now.
yeah, it is. And
Do any like celebrate like any special offers for clients around March or any special celebrations? Or
No, we don't, but that's a great idea. That's a great idea. We should.
no, we want to do a celebration party at some point.
Yeah.
We want to do a celebration party like a for how far we've come and
yeah, we still need to
Do
do
a
our
big
first
party.
birthday 3 years later.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But there's always that level of like overachieving. We want it to be amazing.
Yeah,
You know, we want to have like an amazing event and put on something really cool.
Good DJ.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it in March though.
Well, do it and we'll be there.
Yes.
March 2024. It's
Yes.
happening.
Yes.
Right.
In your calendars.
Well, thank you so much, Will and Kate, for coming along. Really
Yeah,
love this
thanks for having
conversation.
us.
We could, sounds like, probably go for another 3 hours if we
Yeah,
really wanted to. But
100%.
people need to get home and get dinner in their bellies. One last shout out to Marty from Catalog Music, who owns this record store, this beautiful venue that we shoot at every week. And any parting messages from anyone?
I'd like to thank you guys for having us on, and sorry for being late. And I would just like to say thank you to all of our past and future clients. We really enjoy what we do. We're passionate about what we do, and we're trying to do everything.
We're honoured. We're honoured
Thank you
for
to your
the-
cameras for doing the.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
thank you
Thank
to Sony. Without you guys,
Thank you to Sony.
Yeah. Oh, without Sony, I mean, I don't know where I'd be.
Where would we be?
Yeah.
Well, they should be thanking me. I've given them like 50 grand. But
Yeah, I know. Actually, yeah. When you put it like that, yeah, you know. But,
So
yeah.
you should be thanking us. But yeah, no, thank you
Yeah.
for having us, and it was amazing to be here, and it's great to see you guys grow as well. We
to know you guys.
really like your content, and we love the community aspect of it as
Yeah,
well.
cool. I'm keen to watch each other grow. I think we'll
Yeah.
be in each other's atmospheres a whole lot more, hopefully.
Yeah. For sure. We'll have to do this again.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
were saying we were so surprised we haven't ran into each other on a shoot.
I
'Cause We
know.
like shoot the same people. Like
Yeah.
a few of the same people.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I know. Brisbane is a small
It'll
place.
happen one day.
Yeah, it'll happen now.
It will.
Yeah.
It will. It always happens like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thanks for having us, and make sure you guys check out Shot by March. And yeah, stay
Book them
blessed,
in.
everyone.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Bye-bye.